hello. So I wanted to talk about, well, I've been working on this talk about lessons in the garden and like the lessons we can learn from the Garden of Eden. And like, I think as you look at the Garden of Eden and God's original intent for life, you can see God's heart and his original intent, you know? Like the way the world is now is not his original intent, is the result of sin and fallen man and what happens when darkness um, gets into the world and when people listen to darkness rather than listening to God's heart, his heart. And so I wanted to talk about how, we had perfection with God in the garden. Like the first original pair had perfection with God in the garden. They walked with him. They knew him. Life was perfect. It was full of God's presence. There wasn't darkness. There was no depression, sadness. No, none of that. None of that. They had none of that. They had perfection. And also, it's like sometimes when people are like, man, if I saw Eve or I saw Adam right now, I got some words for them. And and I used to say that too. And then the more God has been teaching me about, you know, the nature of man, and it's like, if any of us were in that place at some point, I mean, we didn't have any reference for what sin was. We didn't have any reference. I'm saying, if we are in that place, we didn't have any reference for what would happen if you disobeyed God. We didn't have any reference for sin. All we knew was perfection. And so when Eve was like, okay, this fruit looks like it's suitable to eat and it would give her wisdom, make her like God, she didn't know that one bit of compromise would have led to a fallen world and what we see now in the world today. And so I guess the first lesson I just wanted to share today is that in God and in the garden, I think it's so important to keep your eyes on God, to keep your eyes on Him, no matter what you go through, no matter what your purpose is. Keep your eyes on Him. Number one, because look how a dream, let's say a dream that Eve had, that she wanted to be like God and have wisdom, and I guess I imagine that Adam and Eve were like kids, because kids, when they're born, they don't know anything about good and evil. I mean, to extent they know that, there's pain and there's, when they're hungry and they feel certain things. And some kids were actually born into like abuse. So maybe some kids were born into bad situations. But I'm thinking for the most part, kids, they don't know about good and evil until, they experience it. Maybe they watch something on TV, or they, saw the news and saw things going on in the world, and then their eyes are open to evil in the world. But if we keep our eyes on God like kids and have childlike faith, even in the midst of what's going on, we can trust God and know that He is Father God. He is our Abba Daddy God, and that His kids, He'll keep us in His hands, and He'll keep us safe in our eternities in heaven, And so, number one lesson in the garden is keep your eyes on God, and His dream. Our dreams often are, we're thinking about what we want and what we think is success. I guess Eve's first dream, she wanted to dream her own dream, and she wanted to be like God. But the mistake she made was she didn't realize ramifications of what she was doing. She didn't know that was going to happen. I imagine if she was looking down from heaven, looking down at the earth right now, and seeing how her kids are in so many bad situations, how enemy has been lying to them about their identity and drawing them to do bad things and to hurt each other and to abuse each other and to believe lies of the enemy and evil spirits running rampant, telling them lies about who they are and about God's design for them, and telling them that it's okay, and then people living, basically living lies. Imagine how she feel would feel like looking down from heaven and looking how one decision that she made led to all this in the world. But the great thing is, Easter was a few days ago from when I'm recording this video. Easter, we celebrate Easter because Jesus redeemed everything. He redeemed that one bite that caused everything in the world. He redeemed our relationship with Him in the garden, our closeness to God, and how we were meant to be. And we can have Eden restored in our lives, and even amidst this world that's gone astray, we can have Eden in our lives. We can live in deep communion with God still. Eden means pleasure and delight, and we can have pleasure and delight with God. We can know Him deeply. We can know His face. We can, know that He is God. I want to encourage you to keep your eyes on God, and dream with Him. He has good plans for you. Often our dreams do not keep taking into account the things that we cannot see. We can see an image of what we want, and our dreams are usually self-focused. But dreaming with God, He'll give you a dream, to impact humanity. Jesus dreams with God, and His dream impacted all humanity, and anyone who wants to be free from, the effects of sin on this earth, look no further to the cross. Okay, so this is the first installment of In the Garden series. I want to encourage you to dream with God, keep your eyes on Him, and I want to do more of these. So, all right, come back for more. All right, as I like to say, peace, love, and keep dreaming. This is Julian. You can check out my website at